We are just days away from the crucial results of assembly elections in 5 states. These elections will set the tone for the 2019 general elections. The polling closed today. The ballots and the fate of the candidates has been sealed. The question that arises is, who is winning? My colleague Krishna Kumar breaking down what the exit polls are saying.
World is One is compiling for you all the big exit poll numbers that we've got, and we're telling you what the average of these exit polls are. And let's begin with the biggest state that's gone to election of the 5 states that have gone to polls, and that's Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh has about 230 seats. That's the largest state assembly, not parliament. And this is the 4 exit polls that we have taken into consideration. Look at these numbers again. 111, 13, 94, 126, 118, 105, and 126, 89. Now, if you average them out and make a poll of polls, we get 112 BJP, 108 Congress, 10 others. That is a split house, ladies and gentlemen, as far as the state of Madhya Pradesh is concerned, where we have a chief minister who's 63, 130 BJP Congress, 93, 130, and 85, 105. Rajasthan, all exit polls, when you put together a poll of polls, 109 for the Congress, 80 for the BJP, 10 for others. Congress looks to snap back Rajasthan from BJP. And then comes Chhattisgarh, a popular chief minister, Dr. Raman Singh. 4 exit polls that have taken. BJP Congress 2660, 5235, 4440, and 4635. When you put them together and you get the poll of polls, 43 Congress, 42 BJP, 5 others. Of the 3 big states, 2 seem to be divided houses. Keep in mind, exit polls, projections, estimates. December 11th is when we'll know the exact numbers. We also have the poll of polls for the state of Telangana, where BJP is a marginal player. So there you have 227 BJP Congress, 541 BJP Congress, 0737 BJP Congress. And TRS going anywhere between 85, 65 and 66, 66 to 85. That's the range. That's the reason why TRS, when you sort of average all those exit polls out, 70, 36 for the Congress, 5 for the BJP, and 8 for others. Mizoram is another state that has gone to polls, and where in Mizoram, BJP is almost a non-existent player. The question is whether BJP can make its mark and win a seat or 2 when it comes to the 5th state that's gone to polls. That's Mizoram. And with that, make sure you tune into World is One on the 11th of December, when we'll be bringing you non-stop coverage with the best analysis and the graphics possible.
And those numbers we just showed you are exit polls. They are just projections. Counting day is on December 11. Every election, there are exit polls conducted by several agencies. But how accurate are these exit polls? It's a guesstimate of sorts. Here's a quick look at a few instances when exit polls went horribly wrong. In 2016, in Tamil Nadu, political pundits projected a victory for the DMK-Congress alliance, but come result day, tables were completely turned. Incumbent AIADMK returned to power with a whopping majority. Similarly, in the case of Bihar in 2015, exit polls projected a neck-and-neck fight with 122 seats for Nitish Kumar-led Grand Alliance. The projection was that a resurgent BJP will give them a tough fight. But the result was off the mark. Not completely wrong, but way off the mark. Nitish Kumar's Grand Alliance won 178 seats. Just last year, in the Goa Assembly elections, exit polls projected that BJP's tally would be higher than the Congress. On result day, the Congress surprised the BJP by bagging 17 seats. BJP bagged only 13, but managed to form government by forging alliances. But there are times when exit polls are accurate. Like in the case of 2014 general elections, exit polls predicted a unanimous verdict for the Bharatiya Janata Party, also projected that the BJP would get its highest ever tally, and that's exactly what happened. BJP-led NDA won the general election with a landslide victory. On to France for now. It's typically supposed to be the onset of pre-Christmas cheer on the streets of capital Paris, but this year the mood is quite different. As the Yellow Vest protests continue across the European nation, there are fears of a massive shutdown for the coming weekend. Much of Paris will be on lockdown to contain what the protesters are calling the 4th act of rebellion. Prominent tourist spots like the Eiffel Tower, Orsay and Louvre museums are among dozens of attractions that will be shut on Saturday. Luxury boutiques, restaurants and private businesses on the Champs-Élysées Avenue and around the presidential palace will also remain closed. The shutdown has caused a dent in revenues already. Small retailers saw revenue fall of 20 to 40% last Saturday, and hotel reservations were down by 15 to 25%. But there have been words of solidarity from the tourists as well. Take a listen in.
Well, it's normal that
I think the French people say the same. They need to go to the streets to make their voice heard to the government about the failures and the problems of the country and how to resolve this.
We're used to it. We're getting used to it. Here it's new, and it looks like here there more violence than in our in Israel. When there's violence, it's like they send in rockets and stuff, and we have a defense. Here, no defense options, so it's more scary.
So what began as a protest against the hike in fuel taxes has spiraled into large-scale demonstrations, with protesters demanding the easing of the budgets of hard-pressed households and an increase overall to the minimum wage as well. French President Emmanuel Macron is expected to make a statement about the protests next week. Let's take you straight across live to Paris now, where our correspondent Elena Casas-Montanez has been getting us the very latest. Elena, crucial few hours and days ahead for French President Emmanuel Macron. What's his strategy looking like in the face of the widespread agitation, which of course is tapping onto the larger discontent against his reforms and policies?
Yes, well, it's a very widespread discontent, perhaps not necessarily just aimed at President Macron, but at the political class in general and the actions of various governments going back decades. But it's certainly true that Macron has become a symbol for many of the protesters of everything that they are opposed to. He's been accused of being arrogant, of being out of touch, of being unable to connect with ordinary people. And while, of course, he was elected on quite a controversial reform programme that he promised to push through regardless of any opposition on the street, it does look like he may have to radically change course in order to calm public anger now. We've heard very little from him in the last couple of days. He did, of course, say that he was listening to the concerns of the French after last weekend's protests, but the government is clearly waiting to see how this weekend plays out ahead of a Macron speech that's planned for earlier next week. They have, of course, done a U-turn on the main trigger for these protests, or at least what was initially the main trigger, the rise in fuel tax that was supposed to come in on the 1st of January and which has now been scrapped. But as you were saying, this protest movement has become much wider. Its aims, its demands have become much broader, and the government at the moment has refused to change policy on any other matters.
All right, we're going to leave it there for the moment. Elena, thanks very much, though, for that quick roundup of what the situation is looking like there in Paris and what Macron's strategy to tackle that crisis. It's a big test indeed for the French president. India is home to only a handful of Jews, so you might think that Hanukkah would be a low-key event here. But this synagogue dating back to the 1200 AD will prove you wrong. Take a look.
Tucked away behind a nursery in Kochi, this is one of the oldest synagogues in the South Indian state of Kerala. Having been closed for worship for the last 46 years, the prayer hall finally opened to the public on a very special occasion.
It's a big celebration because two reasons. One reason, because it's a Hanukkah. Hanukkah, it's a holiday for the hero man, yeah? And another reason that we are very, very happy, because this wonderful place was people here, my parents and all the other here was here, and they was pray here.
Decked up in bright lights, this 800-year-old synagogue is a scene of Jewish festivities these days. Young and old gathered to celebrate one of the most holy festivals of Judaism. Hundreds of faithful prayed before the customary lamp, reading verses from the Torah of the Hebrew Bible. For the devotees, the synagogue is not just another prayer hall, but also a signifier of deep India-Israel ties.
Now it is a time. Now very few Jews are here. It should be the monument for the Israel and India relationship. And now it is getting more strengthened and strengthened by all means.
A steady stream of visitors line up this architectural marvel, which has been restored to life yet again. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.